Hi guys, this is me, Christine. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Christine. My guest, she's actually one of my former co-hosts and one of the pioneer hosts of Kapamilya Winner Ka. She's a former TV host, a wife, a mom of two toddlers, two beautiful kids, and currently a frontliner nurse in Melbourne, Australia. I hope you guys will enjoy this one. Here it is.
Hey Kat! Hi! It's been a while. We used to do this over a taxi ride going to ABS, right? And now we're doing this again. Anyway, Kat.
Oh, it's so good to see you and talk to you.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, you're a mom of two toddlers. But more than that, especially in this crisis, you have one of the most important roles in the community, and that is a frontliner nurse, you and your husband. So first question, but before anything else, Kat, I just want to say thank you so much for whatever it is that you do for the community, even if you're not here in Cebu, but your role as a nurse, and to everybody, to all the doctors and everyone who are frontliners, thank you so much for what you do.
You're welcome.
Few people really and truly appreciate what you guys do for the community. So anyway, before this interview, I told Kat that we'll just limit ourselves to 3 to 4 questions, but it was very difficult knowing that I'll be talking. It was a challenge knowing that I'll be talking to Kat. So yeah, first question. Kat, as a frontliner mom, how do you keep your family, especially your 2 toddlers, your 2 kids, safe and healthy in this pandemic?
So in the very early stages, we pulled them out of school straight away, even if it wasn't advised for children to stop school. The advice here in Australia was for kids to remain in school as much as they can, because essentially they were at the lowest risk. But we kind of also wanted to protect the other kids in the daycare. The kids go to daycare, they don't go to proper school yet. But as frontliners and the possibility of us being exposed to positive cases, we just wanted to lessen, I guess, the risk of possibly spreading it to, the teachers and the other kids in the daycare. So we just decided to pull them out altogether. And then I guess just the basics of teaching the kids hand hygiene. And we try to be very transparent with them and explain to them as much as their little brains will allow them to understand the current situation. And they seem to understand it. They kind of hate coronavirus.
That's good.
Ellie has a song when she washes her hands. She goes, "Corona, go away, Corona, go away."
Oh,
and
that's
it,
so sweet.
and Travis is asking questions about it as well. So they know, but I guess they don't have the fears and the worries that us as adults do. And simple things like cleaning the groceries when I know it's extreme, but we wipe down our groceries or anything that we've bought from outside. And my husband is crazy about online shopping at the moment. Surprise, surprise, it's not me.
So
but
do you
he's
have
been shopping a lot?
Yeah. So especially with taking care of their health, and making them understand, do you have a certain routine or protocol at home that you follow?
Yes, especially when we've come from work.
Yes.
So when we get inside the garage, we generally take off our outerwear and put it in a designated laundry bin before we walk inside the house. And actually going back outside, we disinfect our glasses, our phones, our keys. Anything that we're going to take inside, we disinfect that, and everything that we can leave outside, we leave. So we have designated outside shoes as well. And then when we get inside the house, no hugs, no kisses muna, just big highs and hellos. And then we go into our designated bathroom for showering. So the kids can't go into that bathroom. It's only our post-work bathroom, I guess.
Okay.
And then and only then can we give them a hug to say hello.
There are many things really change during because of this pandemic. Now, you and your husband are both frontliners, you and Tep. Now, as a wife and as a mom, what are your worries these days and how do you manage them?
I guess the number one fear is bringing home the disease or to be honest, any kind of virus with us. I must admit that before all this, we didn't do what I just mentioned about, disinfecting and cleaning up. We didn't do it as religiously as we do now. But now it's become more of a habit. It's part of our routine already. It's an expectation that afterwards, regardless of what time you get home or how tired you are, you just do it. And I guess that somehow eases our worries and our fears of possibly spreading it to the family, to our friends, and especially to our patients. Speaking of anxiety around the whole situation, having little kids at home as well, it was really hard to separate home life and work life, because before all this, you get to work, do what you need to do, come home, and you don't have to talk about what happened at work. Or if I did have to talk about anything that's happened at work, it would be just completely different, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, a random thing. Whereas now, you talk about it at work, you talk about it at home, you talk about it outside. So it's very hard to just dampen down all your worries and your fears. So I guess as much as I can, I try to stay away from social media. In the beginning, it was really, really hard because I also wanted to be informed. And this is essentially a new thing that nobody knows of. So you kind of want to be informed and you want to know what's going on in the world, especially us being far from home. We kind of want to know what's going on in the Philippines as well because we still have family at home. But yeah, eventually I personally started to just ease off reading stuff on social media. I still use social media, but like if I see something, I just kind of brush it off.
Okay, so now, Kat, I want to ask about Tep, your husband, because he's also a frontliner. Where is he assigned at the moment?
So he's probably more of a frontliner than I am because he works at the ICU. And the hospital that he works in is the go-to for positive cases, looking after COVID positive patients.
On his duty days, how many hours is he exposed to COVID patients?
They're very lucky they get to rotate, so it's not all the time that they look after these patients. But for the first few months of this, when it was like at the height of the beginning of the pandemic, he was looking after them for about 2 weeks. He works 12-hour shifts and does 3 shifts a week. So 3 times a week for 12 hours, he is isolated with the patient.
Wow, that's so tough.
And what that means is they have special rooms so it's like a double-doored room. So they double glove, they wear their gown, they have a head covering, they wear their face shield, and
the mask.
I want to say they wear a double mask as well before they enter the room. And when they enter that room, they're in there for long hours. They do get breaks, but for obvious reasons, obviously minimize ang time nila outside, going in and out of the room. So they stay in the isolated room with the positive patient for, say, 4 hours. And when they come out to take off their PPE, they're drenched in sweat. So they have to change scrubs, go for their break, do what they need to do, and then come back, wear everything all over again. They can do this whole changing because they're sweaty 3 or 4 times in a 12-hour period.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
How about Dep's mental health right now? Like, how does he manage it? And you as a wife, how are you managing it, knowing that your husband is really more at risk, considering he's well exposed to the COVID patients?
It's really hard to just take it all in and kind of, it's hard to think, we're doing all these things outside of work to make sure that we're safe. But when we get to work, we're like, they're right in front of us, they're right in front of him. So sometimes I feel like, what's the point in trying to avoid it? As I guess, a way for me to cope with the whole idea of him being exposed that close. We're lucky that the hospital he works in has the proper supplies, has enough supplies so that they are protected. At the moment, he is fine. Both of us feel like this is part of the world already, I guess. Like we keep saying, the new normal. So in a way, that somehow eases things for us in terms of anxiety and worry, because we've found ways of trying to manage it in our own little ways. But
doesn't he get scared?
Honestly, in the beginning,
any anxiety?
First ever COVID patient that he looked after, I remember the day. He left the house, said goodbye to us, said goodnight to the kids. I put the kids down for bed. And then when he got, because he starts his shift at 7 p.m. So when he got to work, just before he went inside the ICU, he texted me to say, I'm assigned to a COVID positive patient tonight. I'm going to be looking after a COVID positive patient tonight, so I won't be able to text you. I'm going to leave my phone in my locker because he didn't want to bring anything unnecessary. And in that moment, there was this, I had to be strong because the kids were still awake. So I couldn't cry even though I felt like crying. And that was the first emotion that went through my head. It was really I just wanted to cry because I wanted him to come back home. But then I had to be strong because the kids were awake. And we said a prayer. I told my kids, Daddy's gonna take care of someone who's got coronavirus. So we have to pray to Jesus to protect him. And the kids obviously are oblivious to all this. They don't know the seriousness of it all. So we prayed. We sent Daddy the prayer because I recorded it. And when they did go to sleep, I came out of the room and I just started crying. And I couldn't stop. And I wasn't even there. So I could just imagine the fear that my husband must have felt. Which is why it's kind of hard just thinking about healthcare workers getting abuse for doing their jobs. When really they don't have a choice.
And after that, how did you, in the succeeding days, for sure, after the first one, there was another one. How did Deb, especially you, cope up?
Voila, we just went back to work the next night.
And then another one.
And then another one. And then he had 4 days off. And then he had to go back and do it all over again that next week. And in the third week, he actually stepped up and asked for a break, which I strongly encourage other healthcare workers, if you can, to ask for a break if you're feeling overwhelmed. I know not everyone is lucky to be able to do that, but my husband asked the nurse in charge if he could have a break from the COVID patients because somehow it was taking a toll on his own mental health and just I guess generally fear.
Yeah.
And he did manage to get time off, but then had to go back again another time. But it definitely got easier as the weeks and the months
went by.
Yeah, it got easier. And even now, I remember getting an admission myself na pending a COVID swab. So they were swabbed in the emergency department. And when they come to us, the results are still pending. So we have to treat them as COVID positive patients. And I went through the same motions. When I heard that I was getting this patient and they were on their way, I just quickly ran to the bathroom, had a little cry, called STEP and said, this is the situation. I'm going to be fine, I know. But, just being able to release that fear helped. And if I'm scared, I just thought of how the patient must have felt. Thankfully, they came back negative.
The safety of your family, especially when the coronavirus and this pandemic started and all countries went on their own lockdowns has quitting your job ever crossed your mind for the safety of your family?
To be honest, I've really never considered it. For the last 12 years, nursing has been my profession, it's been my job, and I really do like looking after my patients. I consider it a blessing and a privilege to be able to look after my sick patients. And I guess with me and TAP being nurses, we somehow have the flexibility of being able to, like, one of us stays at home to look after the kids while the other one works. So we're lucky to be able to do that and look after the kids and still keep our jobs, but we dropped them to, I think we dropped out to like 20 or 22. So there were days that they didn't need as much patience. There were days that they didn't need as much staff on the floor. And so they were offering extra days off. And when I could, I took them just so I can be at home with the kids a lot more and just lessen that in and out thing.
Thank you. Thank you that it has never crossed your mind, because these days, grabe, you are our modern heroes. So again, thank you.
I don't consider myself a hero, really. We're just doing our job.
Pero Kat, more than your role right now in the community, we also know that there's one disadvantage, and that is the frontliner discrimination. I don't know if that exists in Melbourne, in Australia, but honestly,
a little bit. I've heard of some stories. Yeah.
It's existing. Sadly, it is existing here in the Philippines, in Cebu. Some are really scared. Ang uban di na nila padayon noon, or some owners of the boarding houses wouldn't let some nurses back anymore. It's really tough. So. What is your message to those who are discriminating frontliners?
I guess in a way, I do understand that people are very, very scared right now, and fear can be manifested in so many different ways, and people have different ways of coping with fear. It is very sad. It's very disheartening to hear and see stories about this. I'm personally very lucky that I've not experienced it, nor has my husband, but we have heard of stories. But these frontliners, not just healthcare workers, you've got like allied health, you've got the cleaners who are still doing their jobs. These frontliners are probably working the hardest in this time of crisis, and we are scared too. We are human beings too, It's not because we wear our uniforms and come to work we're not scared. We are, but we still turn up and do our job because that's our work, that's our job, that's our calling, and that's what we want to do. I hope people can just find it in their hearts to be kind. You never know, and you'd hope you'd hope and pray that you won't see the day that it's you, that these people, you or your family, that we are looking after, I guess,
Now, Kat, lastly, as a frontliner, what is your message to everyone, especially?
Stay safe, stay home if you can, and practice healthy habits. If you must leave your house, wash your hands. Just consider your hands pretty much your barrier or your protection from anything and everything. And if you keep thinking that you have clean hands, then hopefully that gives you a clear mind too.
Clean hands,
I guess
clear mind. From your message, I'd like to go to another message. Now, Kat, thank you for message for everybody, but di lang ikaw ang maghatag of message today. Kasi they just asked me, Tin, can you just read it for her? So, yeah. First from Mommy, from Tita Arlene. To our dearest Katrina, it's a 2 thumbs up for you for being a nurse frontliner and a mom at the same time. That puts a double feather in your cap. We want to let you know, Nak, that we appreciate and thank you for all the things you're doing for others as you perform your duties as a frontliner. Ako naiiyak. For the courage and selflessness, we salute you. Travis and Ellie are in good hands with your tender, loving care. Carry on, Nak, as you are doing very well. We are very proud of you, and we love you. Tap, Travi, and Ellie to the moon and back. Love always, Mommy. Ako naiiyak.
No, hindi, Mommy.
Are you ready for the next person? I guess you already know who he is. Ano ba yan?
Are you ready?
Ito na tayo. Okay.
Okay.
Next message. Just imagine that he is reading this to you from Daddy.
Okay.
Daughter, I know you always blame me for your nursing career. Not only did you get a career, but also a husband when I suggested for you to take up nursing. And for the longest time, we looked at you with quite admiration as you used your career to pursue whatever you wanted to get out of life. And we were clapping behind your back. We are so proud of you. But when this pandemic came, I couldn't help but blame myself for encouraging you to become a nurse. Oh. More so when you had to be tested for COVID and how we prayed so hard that your test will turn out negative, which it did, and we thank the Lord for that. Ay, nako. Trin, we just want to let you know that we admire how you look at life. You never look for the best in life, but you always make the best of what's given you. And this situation is proving that you're turning out to be the best. We love you, Trin. Continue to be a grace and blessing to other people. Keep your children close to your heart. Love to Joseph and kiddos. Tight hugs and kisses, Daddy.
Love you both. Thanks for organizing that.
It's seldom I get the chance to thank a friend, more so a frontliner friend, who risk their lives every single day. This is my way of honoring you and all the frontliners for what you do. Thank you. From me, my family, and everyone that I know. Wami kabalo mag-unsa mi if not for you guys. And for as long as we're here, we will continue to be your prayer warriors. That you will be safe.
Thank you.
Because we know that you need that. You are fighting. I didn't expect it would turn out this way.
I thought we were just gonna laugh and talk.
I know.
We're still laughing and talking, but also crying.
Well, this completes our taxi conversation. The way we used to when we go to tapings, right? Back in the days. And
Yeah.
please stay safe. Thank you so much for granting me this interview, for saying yes to me.
Thanks for having me. It's been really nice. It's been good. Thank you.
I love you, Kat. And guys, thank you so
Love
much
you.
for watching.
And that's it. Thank you very much for watching that conversation I had with KAT ROS. And I hope you guys learned something from her experience as a frontliner mom. It's tough. And right now, I just want to encourage everybody, if you do have a friend who happens to be a frontliner, whether they're a doctor, a nurse, or even a cleaner in the hospital, or a frontliner working at the supermarket, just send them a message. Tell them how much you appreciate them. A simple thank you will surely mean a lot to them. You guys, hang in there. It's not easy for you. I know it's not also easy for me. It hasn't been easy for any of us. But please know that whatever happens, for as long as we stay home, and if you must go out, don't forget to wear your mask properly, proper hand hygiene, wear your shield, the physical distancing. So I pray that God will shield you from the virus and will protect you from any form of evil. Thank you guys for watching. And if you did enjoy this one, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you on the next Conversations with Christine.